Can I please have Lex Mirra to the stage? Lex is Piscataway Township Patrolwoman Julia Caseres' wife and will be sharing their story.
Sorry, I'm a little short. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lex Mirra. I'm a sergeant with the Hopewell Township Police Department and the wife of Julia Caseres, who was a police officer in Piscataway Township prior to her passing. It's so fitting that this event is happening in May. May has always been a significant month for us. We first met on a trip to Spain for a law enforcement soccer tournament in May 2013. Julia was our ringer, even though she wasn't technically a cop yet, and I was a cop who didn't actually play soccer, so they just gave me a whistle and called me coach. We hit it off on the trip, and I always joked that she was the best souvenir I ever brought home. Our first date was shortly after we returned, also in May. And on May 5th, 2018, I was lucky enough to get to call her my wife. Soccer was one of Julia's great loves, and she lit up every time she talked about her days playing as a child and later on playing at the collegiate level at New Jersey City University. She was a standout athlete, an academic All-American who broke several records, including the most goals ever scored in New Jersey college soccer. Jules also coached children's soccer for many years, taking on the role of a mentor for young athletes coming up behind her. It was her dedication to the sport that taught her skills that she would continue to carry with her, even long after she had left the soccer field. She still always called her feet her moneymakers, though. Jules touched many lives, both on the field and off the field. She loved helping people more than anything else. And she decided that that was what she wanted to do with the rest of her life. So she went to school for criminal justice at NJCU. And she went on to work briefly as a 911 dispatcher prior to being accepted into the police academy in 2016. And that same year, she was hired by the Piscataway Township Police Department as an officer. Her enthusiasm for her new role was palpable. She would come home so excited to tell me stories at the end of her day. At this point, I was already salty at 5 years on myself. So, but it was really nice to hear her get so excited. She loved what she did. She truly loved the community that she served and enjoyed learning every single aspect of the job. She especially loved interacting with kids during the course of her duties and regularly expressed to me that she wanted to work in community policing one day. She also deeply loved her coworkers and considered every single one of them family. In March 2018, after only 2 years on the job, Jules began having issues with shortness of breath. She was hospitalized in April, 1 month prior to our wedding, for what doctors believed was pneumonia. Despite the fact that she showed only minor improvements during the week-long stay at the hospital, she was released with medication and advised to follow up if her symptoms persisted. She was an otherwise healthy 27-year-old woman, a former college athlete and non-smoker. It was believed that there was very little cause for concern. However, Julia's symptoms did persist, and after returning from our honeymoon, she underwent a bronchoscopy, which ultimately led to her being diagnosed with stage 3B lung cancer and the discovery of a 10-centimeter tumor in her right lung, which is roughly the size of a softball. The last year of her life was an emotional and physically exhausting roller coaster filled with surgeries, multiple failed lines of chemo, and several hospitalizations. However, true to character, she responded to these challenges with grace, determination, courage, and what can only be described as a slightly twisted sense of humor. Jules ultimately lost her battle to cancer on June 21st, 2019, 2 weeks prior to her 29th birthday and a month after our first wedding anniversary. Although her life was cut way too short, her amazing, humble, and kind spirit left a lasting and powerful impact on all that knew her. So on Julia's behalf and mine, thank you, Scott, and the LGBT Fallen Heroes Fund for keeping her memory alive. Every single hero being honored here today showed so much bravery, both in their personal lives by being true to who they are and overcoming some major obstacles, as well as in their professional lives through the service that they provided to their respective communities and the sacrifices that some of those heroes ultimately made as a result. So I'm truly humbled and appreciative that she's among such great company. Thank you.
Thank you, Lex. Joining Lex today is her girlfriend, Mariana, and Officer Wright, one of her coworkers.